Hello there, and welcome back to Gooner Gathering. I am Gooner Lee Meads, Lee Meadows, here on my own this evening. Hopefully, you can see me okay. I've had to work off my computer tonight because my phone has failed. But I'm here to keep everybody up to date with the Champions League draw that happened a couple of hours ago, the League Cup draw that happened yesterday, a little bit of transfer news, a little bit of ladies' news as well. So let's make a start, shall we? Coming back into the Champions League after 6 years being away seems a long time, doesn't it? Certainly does for me. So we have ended up in Group B. So that means we are playing up. So the top seeds in the group are Seville, of course, the Europa League winners from last season, becoming the record 7-time winners in that competition, beating Roma. Difficult opponent, certainly a very tricky trip to Spain. I will say this: in terms of top seeds, it could have been a lot worse. We could have gone to Bayern Munich, etc., who I think Man United have actually drawn. So perhaps that's a lucky omen. Who knows? Another familiar opponent for us is PSV Eindhoven, who we played in the Europa League last season. We beat them 1-0 at the Emirates. Unfortunately, lost 2-0 away from home. Now, PSV have just come off the initial qualifying stages by eliminating Glasgow Rangers 7-2. So it'll be very interesting to see how we face this opponent. Familiar, of course, from last season, under different management, of course, but again, that will be a difficult tie. A familiar foe coming up against the League R runners-up in Lens. Back in the day when we played our Champions League games at Wembley Stadium, Lens were one of our opponents in that period of time. So that will be a very welcome return to seeing them after a few years. Let's get up to date now with the Carabao Cup draw that happened yesterday evening. An away trip to Brentford. Quite a difficult tie, I would imagine. It'll be very interesting to see how strong a side Mikel Arteta will pick for this tie. Weighing up the fact that you've got the Premier League, the Champions League starting up. A lot of people, of course, are saying, Mikel has to win a trophy this season. This is an opportunity to do that. Again, a very tricky game to play away from home. The squad have got the capability of doing it. So we shall see how seriously or not Mikel wants to take this competition. Of course, Arsenal haven't put out strong teams in this competition for many, many a year, but we shall see what happens this term. Let's get up to date with a little bit of transfer news, which won't be a surprise. Of course, it's transfer deadline day tomorrow. A permanent move that happened yesterday is a controversial one in many an Arsenal fan's point of view, and that, of course, is Florent Balogun joining AS Monaco. Now, the 22-year-old USA international hasn't really featured that much for Arsenal. I believe he's scored 2 goals in about 7 appearances. His contract would have been up at the end of this season. And of course, there's a lot of hoo-ha at the moment with Manchester City potentially receiving quite a substantial fee for Cole Palmer. Again, similar sort of age, with quite a lot of game time as well, whether or not it starts or not. So people are saying that have Arsenal been shortchanged here with Balogun? I don't know. the thing I've always felt with Flo Balogun, and I'm not going to be popular with some of my members of my Gooner Gathering crew when I say this, is that I've never been totally sure was ready to play Premier League. And I know his goal scoring record from last season. I know full well he was fourth top goal scorer in the division last season when he scored 21 goals in 37 appearances for Reims. I also remember him playing in the championship level for Middlesbrough. And this is what I think Arteta is thinking as well. In 18 appearances at Borough, he only scored 3 goals. It would have been a steep learning curve for him. And yeah, perhaps he learned a lot from it. Clearly, he must have done because he scored so many goals in the French league last season. But with his contract situation being that being that he was going to find it very difficult to break into the first team squad, I'm not necessarily surprised that this move has gone ahead. I know a lot of people were going to be up in arms about it. I know that. But ultimately, I think it's something like £30 million plus add-ons. So, look, all I want to do is wish Flo all the best in his time in Monaco. I do hope it goes very well. 22 years old, you want to be playing regular first team football. So let's hope for his sake that the move works well for him. My final points of today's video is to do with the ladies' side. Firstly, I want to talk about Katie McCabe, who was named today in the UEFA Women's Champions League Team of the Season. Of course, Arsenal did extremely well last season in the Champions League campaign, getting all the way up to the semi-final. So I want to wish Katie McCabe congratulations. Well-deserved part of that team. Also, the PFA WSL Team of the Year was named, of course, in the awards. Frida Marnham and, of course, former centre half Raffaele was named in that squad. That 11 players, them 11 players that were named. Also, probably worth mentioning that in the Championship Team of the Season for last season, Chuba Akpom, former Arsenal player, of course, has transferred over to Ajax, was named in that 11 as well. So that is pretty much everything from me this evening. If anything major happens tomorrow in terms of transfer deadline day, certainly myself or one of the team will be available to make or do something with it, and we'll put messages out on our social media. So yeah, well, if not, if at the very least you'll see Gooner Gathering resurface on match day on Sunday against Man United. Myself and Posh Bertie will be with us 4:15 start. Hopefully we can get through all the team news, all the news that's going ahead before the game. It's going to be a clash of the champions, perhaps. It's an old school clash. Both sides needing a good performance. Let's see how we get on. Let's just put our social medias up if I can. I'm just used to putting this on the PC. Here it is. So you can find me at Gooner Lee Meads. You can find everybody on the channel at Gooner Gathering. And until we see you next time, look after yourselves. Take care, and we'll see you soon.